everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of Podshots with Bhawna. Well, today feels a bit different because when you have a guest who's almost like a celebrity on LinkedIn, whose post you cannot really scroll past without reading, and I would say that whose energy enters before he actually enters the room. In fact, let me give a slight warning for today's episode because today's guest is known to spark breakthroughs. He's known to actually drive some deep conversations or deep thinking and even jolt some identities. So instead of building more suspense, let me raise the curtain and bring him up onto the screen for all of us. Okay, so when you have a guest, someone whom internet already knows, so he doesn't actually need an introduction, but I'll give one because he deserves one. So to a bestseller author, to a marketing mentor, a LinkedIn top voice, a community builder, and founder of 10xer Club. Wow, I'm so thrilled to be joined by Harinder Singh Pelia on my show Podshots with Bhawna. And trust me, it's going to be a ride. So you better buckle up yourself on your seats. So today we are going to deep dive on a very, very critical topic on finding yourself, making yourself visible, memorable, unforgettable by something which Harinder says to finding your unfair advantage, which makes it impossible to be ignored. So welcome Harinder and thank you so much for accepting my invite and being my guest on today's show.
Thank you so much, Bhavna, and really happy to be on Podshots today and looking forward to making this a useful conversation for everyone listening in.
Absolutely. So first of all, let me start by congratulating you for having a yet another blockbuster on the bookshelf. So back to back, I think that you are really doing great. So as you know that I really finished your latest book and I've recently given the review as well. So very fantastic book, very thought provoking. So thanks and keep on bringing such gems again and again for everyone's read.
Thank you
Okay,
so
so
much. The book has just gotten off to a decent start. It's just been out
absolutely,
for a
it's
few weeks
rocking.
now, and
Excellent.
it's. I think there's good momentum, good support from folks like you. So I really hope it catches on. And most of all, every author just wants one and only one thing: that people who read it get genuine value from it. Even if it was
Absolutely.
value of 5 minutes, you feel that something has even
Really trigger.
moved 1 inch inside you. So that's what was the attempt, and I'm happy that people are feeling that ways.
Yes, it's very relatable, and as I mentioned, that although these things we already know, but someone really needs to push it. So you have really done it very well. So thanks. So just to let you know the format of the show. So since it's a bite-sized podcast, so it's an under 15-minute show. So
Yes.
I'll ask you a couple of questions in the code grid, and then towards the end we'll have a quick sensational rapid fire to know you a little more beyond the social media. Okay, so I hope you're okay with that. Okay,
Excited. Yes, please go ahead.
so let's start. Let's start with your the recent book itself. Who the fuck are you? So in that book, you have talked about a very a compelling topic of finding your minimal viable self. So which is finding your authenticity, your real self, and standing out with that. But what, according to you, or what do you think that how one gets that kind of a confidence to keep that or show up that authenticity in this noisy world all around?
Sure. Sure. Thank you for that question. I think the first part for all of us is whether you do it through the book or whether you do it yourself, right? Some level of self introspection is extremely required. What happens is when we're in corporate jobs, sometimes we're just going along with the motions for years and years and years, and we never stop to think. Just let me just take 1 or 2 days to think of where I am, where I want to be, just for quiet conversations with ourselves. So we always miss things like that, I think. And like me growing up in my own corporate career, I don't think I did that enough. So if there's one thing I would want my 25-year-old self to do, is to do significantly more introspection and course correction along the way. Who am I? What's the value that I'm bringing to the world? How am I going to put it in front of the world? I think once you've figured out who you are, That's also the title of the book. And once you figure out what value you bring to the world, then I think it's not about putting it out in front of the world. I think it's not an act of promotion. It's an act of service, because you
Hmm.
have some quality which is going to solve somebody's life problem, even if it's a tiny life problem. So if you're still letting it stay inside you through imposter syndrome or through hesitation of putting itself out there, then I think it's an act of disservice, because the world might be 1% better because of the value that you bring out. If you're a fitness trainer, if you help postpartum mothers get back to their former selves again, if you're a real estate agent which helps people connect to their first dream home, if you're good at what you do, then not putting it out in front of the world, I think is downright selfish. So it's not a option. I think it's an obligation for everybody who's good at what they do, to make everybody around them kind of feel better once they figured out who they are.
I think that's very valid way of putting it. That it's an obligation rather than doing something for the world. Because many a times we identify that identity within ourselves, but that hesitation of bringing it out is something which pulls people back. So if we
Absolutely.
consider that we are liable to show it to the world, I think that can actually turn around the thing. So very well said. So now moving to your earlier another bestseller book, which is the Psychology of Marketing. In that, you
Yeah.
have talked about that how brands actually pull that invisible levers of in our minds.
Yeah.
So how do you apply the same principle or psychology in the personal branding without actually being getting manipulative?
I think it's the same. It's not, I think at the end of the day, we sometimes, when we say corporate brand, human brand, personal brand, I think all of these terms sometimes obfuscate what is essentially happening. At the end of the day, if we just zoom out, it's just human beings talking to human beings. And I very fundamentally believe it, right? We think of social media and algorithms and all other details are irrelevant once you realize it's just human beings talking to human beings. And what I say and do will trigger some kind of reaction inside your brain, if you're listening to me, right? Some kind of attitude change, some behavior change, or something might happen, right? You might like what I say, you might dislike what I say, or so on and so forth. So I think that's the same for brands. Whenever you put out a new form of communication, it shifts something inside the consumer's head. And that's the same for people like you and me. When Bhavna says something or Harinder says something, it shifts something inside somebody's head. It ideally is supposed to shift something inside somebody's head. Great communication does. Good or bad is, of course, after the fact. Bad communication, of course, is ignored. So whenever I'm putting some kind of evidence out, okay, hey, this is who I am, or this is what Bhavna is, and this is what Bhavna is passionate about, right? And that shifts something in somebody's head. So I think there is nothing wrong in using these levers.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying. Even as brands, right? If you're using this lever and you know that my detergent is actually going to clean clothes, it's actually solving a problem, or through the podcast that Bhavna is putting out, it's actually going to get people access to interesting conversations, then it is real value being put out in front of the world. तो उसमें अगर आप इनविजिबल स्ट्रिंग्स मैनिपुलेट कर रहे हैं टू मेक श्योर दैट द रीच अवेयरनेस डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ दैट मैसेज इज हायर, then I think again, like my earlier, I think it's an act of service. It's ensuring that better value comes in, because what you are doing is ideally not digital pollution. It's
Yeah.
actually,
I think.
it actually
Yeah.
has some kind of meat. It
Value.
has some kind of value inside it. So अगर वो है तो why not use the invisible strings as much as you could. Use everything which the human mind reacts to, right? Whether it is attention hacking, titillation, whether it is influence and persuasion, or whatever other technique is at your disposal. You are well within your rights to use all of them to get your value across to people.
Yeah, I think again coming back to something where we started is that many a times it's something which pulls us back. So that's overcoming that kind of pull within inside is something which is more critical.
Yeah.
So now coming back to your little behind in your career where you have actually built and scaled and worked with some biggies of this world like Amazons and Agios.
Yes.
What is the kind of a difference which you see in marketing the products versus marketing yourself?
Yeah, I don't. I'll be a little provocative and say I don't see any difference. I've had the opportunity to work on, say, budget, cheap smartphones, and also luxury fashion. I think at the end of the day, funda same hai. right? Like I think marketing at the very fundamental is very, very simple. And like I said earlier, it is about presenting some kind of stimulus which leads to some behavior change or attitude change in somebody's head. I think that doesn't change no matter what industry, what customer segment you're talking to. And similarly, that doesn't change when you're working for a corporate brand or a personal brand or so on and so forth, right? Because I think the fundamentals of communication and psychological behavior change remain the same unless and until humans evolve kar jaye, or they are human AI robots that get created, जो फिलहाल नहीं होगा, right? Till
Yeah.
that changes, human beings are fundamental, because the gray matter between our ears, between your ear and my ear, is the result of thousands and millions of years of evolution. So trigger वही है. Like the attention hacking will be the same whether you're doing a YouTube video, you're doing a book, or whether you're doing a uh, whatever employee town hall. So I think personal brand, corporate brand, I think it's all the same. We sometimes put ourselves into silos saying, कि, okay, Miko, I am great at BFSI marketing, or I'm great at tech
Mm.
marketing, or I've spent some time in fashion, so I can say fashion में marketing बहुत अलग होती है. I don't think so. Right? I really don't think so. So whenever somebody says something, I just say the context might be different, the
Mm.
nuances might be different, as they will, but at the very fundamental core, I think what we are doing is going to be very simple, very deceptively simple, and very, very similar.
True. I agree with the same. So
Hmm.
now coming to, something which you have built, which is again a very innovative thing of building that 10xer community. So which you
Yes.
intend to create a tribe for impactful marketeers together. So what according
Yes.
to you, you feel that, if community really helps in making you unignorable or unforgettable?
It does actually. So we've seen, now we have enough proof, and we've been in existence for about a year and a half now. And we know that if you bring hundreds of people together who have the same problems, who have kind of similar ambitions, who all exist in the same marketplace with the same frustrations, then sometimes they're going to figure out a way themselves.
Mm.
Right? Especially if you bring smart people together. The issue is, for marketers, the issue has always been that there's been no way of bringing smart people together without an agenda. हम कॉन्क्लेव्स पे भी
Right.
मिलते हैं, वहां भी कोई कुछ बेच रहा है. हम क्लब्स में मिलते हैं, वहां भी कोई कुछ पिच कर रहा है. सो we don't want to, marketers don't want to be pitched to at all times, right? We just want some
Mm.
safe spaces, so that people like you and me can just get together, we can get a coffee together, or we can get a drink together and just feel, just let off some steam.
Speak.
कि यार आईपीएल का स्पॉट रेट इतना हो गया है, या हायरिंग में मेरे को ये प्रॉब्लम्स हो रही, प्रॉब्लम्स वही हैं, या मेरी एजेंसी काम, इट्स जस्ट द सेम.
Correct.
Largely the stuff that frustrates us. Can we create forum in which they are in a safe space where they can feel care? I don't need to be very corporate. I don't need to be very sanitized, or I don't need to be very careful of what I say. I can say what I actually want to say, but I can also interact with marketers from all other fields. So an FMCG marketer will have so much to learn from a pharma marketer, and a pharma marketer will have so much to learn from somebody who does tech marketing in FANG companies. Because while we continue to say that marketing is the same, the context and the nuance of each of them is different.
Different.
So there are no fundamentals. There's no Cotlerian school of thought which says कि यार अभी अगर आपको ये पता है तो आपको foundation पता है. There's no foundation per se, right? And it's like a shifting ground beneath your feet. The more you interact with people who are exactly opposite of what you are like as a marketer, the better I think your skill and kind of your ability kind of becomes. So we've been able to orchestrate some of that for people, and of course, when you put smart people together, great things happen. Of course, they train better, they learn better, but they also hire better, which means that either if you want to hire for your team, or if you want to get hired, if you're in the market. So we've been able to create those outcomes for a lot of people. We are very happy with the progress that we are making, and we are also becoming very paranoid. Okay, we don't want to blow it up, which
Mm.
means we want to make sure that every person who comes in is vetted, and we want to make, because if it becomes too many people, then it loses the strong connections that it has currently. We want to be very careful of the number of people we keep adding, and we want to be very limited and very selective of how we do that, because for any kind of community, for any kind of congregation of smart people, quality is everything.
Absolutely.
So so 1,000 engaged people are
Yeah.
so much more better than a million loosely engaged people.
Absolutely. I
And
completely agree. Yeah.
and that's what
Yeah.
we are very paranoid about that.
No, no, I think that really sets it apart, because rather than just being yet another WhatsApp group or a community, it
Yeah.
really does not have that value and weightage to that. And I think I completely agree. One of the biggest advantage is the cross pollination and cross learning between the industries, which really comes
Yes.
in communities like this. So
Yes.
that's definitely. So now coming to, in the age of, AIs, we are actually knowingly, unknowingly, all of us chase, virality. So in these times, what do you think? What's how to distinct between, being seen by millions versus being meaningful to few?
I love this question actually. So I think there's been enough talk about impact of AI and everything. So I just think I'll skip that part of the question because I think everybody's talked a lot about it and people have their own vocabulary of what they think about it. Uh, I think the amount of so I'll say the bad side is the amount of slop that we are seeing, the amount of AI slop, which is just mediocrity, is just multiplying at an alarming
Mm,
rate. It's at an exponential rate. Now the issue is uh, the virality at the very fundamental as a human process, right, is a hacking of attention, right, on any
correct.
social media. For example, if you're using short form video, for example, TikTok पे या Instagram Reels पे
Mm,
अगर आप हो, you have to hack the skip rate to ensure
correct.
to get viral and so on and so forth. And similarly for YouTube and everything, where you kind of build for retention and completion rate, etc. I think virality will be built by hacking patterns. It's always been by hacking patterns. That is something which AI is not great at yet. AI is built
Mm,
on analyzing 100 patterns and creating the 101st piece of output on the basis of those 100.
true.
But the thing is, if virality is fundamentally based on hacking those 100,
Mm,
then it's going to be slightly tougher to completely use AI to engineer virality, which I think is very, very true. And that's why I think while if you want to write, for example, if you want to write a movie or if you want to write an ad, I think AI will give you a 5 on 10, 6 on 10 ad. As on today, I don't know how things will kind of mature from here on. As on today, it will give you a good 6 on 10 kind of an ad. Or if you want to write a paragraph, it will give you a 6 on 10 paragraph. But if you actually want to write something that speaks to somebody,
mm,
a movie, a book, a social media post, a script for a short form video, uh, you can't use AI at
mm,
all. It will, because there's it's almost impossible for it to get across the 6 to 7 on 10 level, right? Because wo level will only come through human originality, right? Like for example, every time I hear somebody sending me a message saying कि यार I love the tone in which your book is written, it feels like you are sitting next in front of
correct.
me, right? कि आप और मैं कॉफी पी रहे हैं और आप
Correct.
मेरे से बात कर रहे
True.
हो। I'm very conscious that I want to maintain that. Okay,
Mm,
I am nobody to give gyan, but I am somebody who can ask you questions and kind of help you nudge that answer out of you. That I can do.
mm,
So the tone that I carry has to be super authentic, conversational, and it has to work for you at an emotional level, right? For me to carry the heavy message that I'm carrying through the book. So it's not possible to use AI for a book like this,
mm,
right? It's just मतलब वो slop दिखेगा. It will just seem above average. And there is so much stuff out there which is just above average. कि वो इतना mediocre लग रहा है, वो इतना like the each
mm,
other लग रहा है. So see, whenever I see any kind of written communication nowadays, even reports, even presentations, I just feel that there is so much slop. There is
mm,
everybody knows everybody's using AI, and it is
correct.
just higher to mediocre output. Virality नहीं होगी. Virality उसी में होती है when you're saying कि okay, I'm going to force my hand
Mm,
and say okay, I have a presentation to give. I am not going to use even 1 minute of AI to do this.
mm,
And then you build the entire thing. Then you can choose to use it to accentuate some parts. But if you are using AI to frame or structure your
every, yeah.
thinking, फिर खत्म है.
Correct.
Then you will be a part of that mediocrity. I know today there are 23, 24-year-olds who are not able to unfortunately draft an email
Mm,
without the help of AI.
but they
Like
must
तुम
be.
गलत लिखो ना,
Mm,
कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, तुम गलत लिखो, तुम
correct.
स्पेलिंग मिस्टेक करो, बट द
Mm,
फैक्ट दैट इफ आई एम सीइंग दोज, एवरीबody gets to know how AI is, right? This is the same 5 6 um, now we are ourselves using
yes.
it so much कि कोई और यूज करता है आपको समझ आ जाता है, right?
Correct.
So if somebody cannot make the effort of handwriting an email for me, तो मैं नहीं
Hmm.
रिप्लाई करूँ,
Hmm.
राइट? सो वायरलिटी तो बहुत दूर की बात है.
Correct.
So I just feel that people are at that space. There was that Mahabharat show on Hotstar, which has just come out. It's completely made by AI. Have you seen it?
Hmm.
Okay. Don't even dare watch it. मतलब इतना खराब है
Okay,
वो.
I'm spared myself. Okay.
इतना ज्यादा खराब है. See, if your selling point is only कि it is completely made by AI, तो क्या बोलूं
Hmm.
मैं? Now, Mahabharat is our history, is our epic, is our culture. You are toying with that culture by something so shallow, राइट? कि तुमने इमेज जनरेशन कर दिया, उससे कर दिया, पीपल आर नॉट इवन मेकिंग आई कॉन्टैक्ट इन दैट. सो फॉरगेट वायरलिटी. आपको तो मतलब यू विल गेट ब्रिक बैट्स कंसिडरिंग. व्हाई नॉट गेट अ ह्यूमन राइटर, गेट अ, और फोन यूज करो. मैं ये लोगों को ये बोलता हूँ यार, ऑन योर कंटेंट क्रिएशन जर्नी, इफ यू डोंट हैव द वेयर विद ऑल टू डू इट, यूज योर फोन. People are forgiving of bad production. People are not forgiving of mediocre AI generated slop.
Because I think again coming back to the same point, because people don't want to look bad in front of it, because in that that mad race of looking good everywhere to
Yeah.
everyone, again
Yeah.
relating to your book, instead of having that those circles of influence and core, and so you can be good, be real, open and authentic with that 15 people or 150 people, instead of targeting that 1,500 or 1 lakh people. So that is
Uh,
what probably people are missing. They just want to look good to everyone.
yeah.
So that's the chase of getting that likes and thumbs ups by across.
अरे
So
वो
so I
एआई
think
स्लॉप देख के तो वो एआई स्लॉप देख के तो वैसे भी वो लोग नहीं आ रहे.
bilkul,
Right? The
yeah,
people that you're chasing those millions of followers, they anyways are going to see you as a, like, at least I have a very allergic response whenever I see even basic writing which is avoidable being used.
mm,
Like people are holding workshops.
mm,
And workshops में आपका deck में 100% chat GPT है. तो I'm just saying
correct,
that's not, it's not irresponsible, it is just cheating somebody. I
right,
don't want, मैं घर पे, if if I've paid with my time and attention, then you better bring your A game. अगर
correct,
आप मेरे को चैट जीपीटी की स्लाइड्स दिखा रहे हो, तो फिर तो बॉस यू आर चीटिंग मी. बिकॉज
absolutely,
आज की डेट में इट्स नॉट व्हाट आई हैव पेड फॉर द वर्कशॉप, इट इज व्हाट आई हैव पेड विद माई टाइम एंड अटेंशन, एंड दैट इज एन इनवैल्यूएबल रिसोर्स. आई एम गिविंग यू 60 minutes ऑफ माई अनडिवाइडेड टाइम. यू बेटर ब्रिंग योर ए
sure,
गेम. उसमें अगर
absolutely,
आप शॉर्टकट ले रहे हो तो इट्स
correct.
चीटिंग.
Right. Although this conversation is really addictive and I would love to go on, but just being mindful of the concept of the show. So thanks. I think we are done with the core grid. So now let's just quickly have that 1 minute of rapid fire round. So if
Yes,
you're okay,
please.
then I'll just turn on the timer.
Excited.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Okay. Okay. So Harinder, what's that comfort food that instantly turns a bad day into a good brainstorming session for you?
Biryani. I'm a big biryani person.
Okay, great. Late night writing sessions. What's on your table other than overthinking?
Lovely question. I actually write in the mornings, very early
Okay,
mornings. So I'm a morning person than a night person.
okay,
But on my table, I usually always have chai. I'm a chai
okay.
person versus coffee person. Yes.
I'm sorry I didn't let you have a sip. I have been constantly asking you one after the other. Okay, so if marketing was like a cooking, so what's that secret ingredient?
Garlic.
Oh,
I think garlic. I heard somewhere when during lockdown everybody was cooking, right? Myself included. सबने ये बोला कि यार garlic and butter. If you put
ah,
it in anything else, any
it
किसी
will
खराब
enhance.
में डालो it will enhance. So I think that's why I said garlic or butter.
Okay,
If even
great.
if it's a mediocre product with great marketing, it'll work.
Great. Okay. So if you could share your meal with any two or three people, whether alive or not alive, so who would you like to share your table with?
So one of my former colleagues is he's now CEO in succession for Gucci. I haven't met him in a long time. I
Okay.
really wanted to meet him. But he's obviously Italy based. His name is Dario. I've worked with him earlier, so I want to get in touch with him and
Okay. So
have
we'll
a
tag
meeting.
him. We'll tag him in this
Yes,
episode so he hears you out.
yes.
Okay.
And other than that, I'm really a big fan of Fyodor Dostoevsky. I've kind of now read. I'm on my fourth Dostoevsky book.
Oh,
Uh, I, I I think I do feel a very deep connection to somebody who's in the 19th century existed in Russia, very removed from the cultural and context of today. But I just feel a very deep connection. I think he's a beautiful writer. Just I don't think I know of anybody who has written words better than this person.
okay. Okay, the last one. Which city street food matches best of your creative vibe? Is it Amritsar, Delhi, Mumbai, or Bangalore?
Delhi, for any kind of food, it is not even fair how ahead Delhi is of everybody else. Because I get
Okay.
to now travel in very short bursts. तो अगर आप
Okay.
लंबा करते हो तो आपको नहीं समझ आता, but आप छोटा छोटा in and out करते हो, then you get to compare your city with the others. Delhi is here. All the other cities are here. That's the difference. In terms of all food, I'm not even saying chaat, but chaat all the way to fine dining. Delhi, from a food perspective, is unfair how good it is.
Wonderful. I'm sure all the Delhiites who are going to watch these are going to be on cloud nine. So great. This brings us to end of the rapid fire as well. So Harinder, this was wonderful conversation. I wish we had more time. So maybe we'll have you once again on part two sometime. But I wish you all the very best. Keep bringing up all the gems. I mean, it's a great read and something which we really love. You know, bringing it on and on. So wishing you all the very best. Continue doing the great work.
Thank you, and thank you for doing the great things that you do in bringing conversations to people. And I wish you all the best as well. Thank you so much, Bhavna.
Thanks, Harinder.
All right.
Okay, what a brilliant conversation it was. Didn't I say in the beginning that it is something which is going to spark that breakthrough in you? So I'm sure that, this was a very addictive conversation, which really, with Harinder, I could try to distill all his wisdom in, this short format. So keep trying and finding your unfair advantage. Keep making yourself impossible to be ignored. And please do connect with Harinder via LinkedIn. Follow him. He is a TEDx speaker as well. And of course, he's a well known face on the social media. So do follow him and do follow his advices as well. So this was a wrap for a great conversation today. So till we meet next time, take good care of yourselves and your loved ones. Stay curious, stay authentic, and stay meaningful. Till we meet next time, bye bye, signing off, and see you next time.